Hello, everybody. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me today, giving me just a little slice of your time. You know that I appreciate you. We have many things to get into on the show this afternoon. We've got the NFL draft coming up later today. Where and who will the Titans select at 5? That's obviously the big story there. The Titans made all of their draft day drama early. So we've gotten that nicely out of the way. Joining me on the show today is going to be Russell Stroud. He's going to be joining us, our news director here at Hot News Talk Radio. And it's going to be for the whole show because I'm going to bounce some ideas off of him here. Russell's a very smart guy, and this world of sports that we live in it's very bizarre. The whole thing is bizarre, and I don't think there's anybody I enjoy talking about bizarre things with more than Russell.
I'll be here later. I'm not here yet.
That's true. So before we jump into all of that, let me talk about the platforms. Where can you reach us and where can we find you? I highly recommend Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Make sure to check us out on those places. Radio is not a one-way medium. Start a conversation and we'll join in with you. Also, you can check us out on hotnewstalkradio.com. We stream all of our shows live 24/7, 365. And you can get to all of our social media from there as well. And you can check us out in the TuneIn Radio app, absolutely free, in your favorite app store. Google or Apple, does not matter. Hot News Talk Radio, search it in the app. Give us a favorite and press play, and you'll have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. So I'd like to jump into some Deflategate talk. It's boring. I hate it. Nobody is enjoying this conversation at all. And we have to talk about it anyway, just because of A, how hard the NFL is going after this, and B, Tom Brady is all about his legacy, and Tom Brady is going to also unreasonably fight this until there's no place left to go. Like, everyone is considering this idea that somehow this is going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court. This gigantic, colossal waste of time that is Deflategate that nobody actually cares about, but that we sort of care about now.
I hope it goes up to the UN.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be the best. Ban Ki-moon has to talk about Deflategate suddenly.
Like the opinion on whether or not the league should have been able to take Tom Brady's phone.
I just like the idea of Tom Brady testifying before like North Korea.
Which Tom Brady is ridiculous enough that he will actually do it in all seriousness.
Well, he should have Dennis Rodman as his mediator.
Well, so that we could just not understand him at all. Just Dennis Rodman growling at...
That should be a pay-per-view event right there.
I would shell out the money for that. I really would, because Dennis Rodman is a kind of guy that you listen to him, he's actually kind of likable.
Oh yeah.
And lovable, but just when he gets grouchy, you cannot discern any of his words.
No, you can't. And that's like the last thing I saw of him from like the last 10 years. I forgot about Dennis Rodman. And then the other day I watched a video of Dennis Rodman in North Korea, and he did this interview. I couldn't understand what he said. I don't know what he was trying to say.
I don't think anybody knows what he was trying to say. It's just one of those things that it's, even though he is also speaking English, lost very much in translation.
Yeah. Different dialect or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's his own dialect.
He speaks Rodmanese. He's from Rodmanesia.
Right. And I want him to be that spokesperson for Tom Brady in front of the UN. I like when you talk about the NFL, in this, the part of the thing that the players don't like about this is that all of these court cases are having an effect on the league's ability to do certain things, especially when it comes to punishment. They're setting legal precedents for what the commissioner can and cannot do.
Right. Yeah, you can refer back to Brady v. whoever.
Right. Brady, I guess Brady versus the NFL.
Oh, yeah, I guess it
would be that. And it's setting a legal precedent for something that the players did not agree to in the collective bargaining agreement with the league. They did make some poor choices in what they agreed to. The league offered them more money in order to have Roger Goodell have all of this power as the commissioner. So, yeah, it's really silly that if Roger Goodell hands out a punishment, in order to appeal that punishment, you have to go back to Roger Goodell again. And that's strange, because that's not at all how appeals ought to work
No, we were talking about this before. It's like if I went to Judge Shattuck here in Tennessee, in Chattanooga specifically, I think he does criminal court, and I get appealed, and then I'm back in his courtroom, and he goes, "Oh, you're back. You must have appealed." Like, that's not how it's supposed to work.
Like, and my sentence is still the same.
Yeah, you're guilty.
Right. So it doesn't necessarily work. There's no third party involved in any of this. Even with the whole, and it got particularly sketchy during that whole Ray Rice situation where he punched his fiance, now wife, and knocked her out in the elevator.
Was he charged, or was he convicted of that?
The charges were dropped.
So he allegedly punched her in an elevator.
He allegedly punched her in an elevator, even though there's video footage of.
But he still
allegedly punched her. But here's the thing.
I'm trying to protect you here, man.
Roger Goodell, thank you. Got my back on that one. He allegedly punched her in an elevator. But the issue here is that Roger Goodell handed out one suspension, and then when the video came out and it looked worse, he increased it.
Oh.
Which again, because of that strange power that he has that no other arbitrator in anything ever has, he had the ability to extend a punishment even without an appeal.
That's like if a judge goes back and says, "Oh, wait a minute, this does look worse. Can you come back?"
Yeah, I made a mistake.
3 years now for speeding.
We call that double jeopardy. Like, you can't be tried twice for the same thing, but you can in the NFL because it's not a courtroom.
NFL is not a legal entity. I mean, it is a legal entity, but it's not like a legal courtroom or anything.
No, it isn't. And even though, like, there's a lot of legalese and a lot of stuff that happens in and around those kinds of discussions in the NFL, when it comes to Roger Goodell and his ability to just do kind of whatever he wants, I think a lot of the players are starting to realize the rule was, to protect the shield, which is the NFL's logo. Just if something makes the NFL look bad, then Roger Goodell can come after you, which for most people wasn't a problem. If you stay out of trouble, you're usually fine. And what a lot of players are learning is that no, because of the recent court ruling, legally, whatever Roger Goodell thinks is making the league look bad, he can come after you for. He really just has to imagine whatever that is.
Brady, hand in your pads and cleats. You're over, son.
Basically, which is weird because he's clearly like the best quarterback in the league. I don't think that that's even up for debate.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So typically, isn't it the superstars that get a pass? Like, I'm trying to figure out what it is. I have a theory about it.
Well, so do I. I'd love to hear yours.
Well, my theory about it is that the greatest reality TV show in the history of the world is the NFL.
You have the same theory as me. Go ahead.
Oh, well, there you go. I guess it wasn't that enlightened, but it's the NFL. Like, all year round, covering this stuff, like, any football news is better than 99% of television to most sports fans.
Yeah.
So they'll take bad football news over anything else on TV.
Plus, they got me talking about Deflategate on Binary ages ago. And if I was talking about Deflategate, that's a big deal because, I'm not a big sports guy.
Yeah, you're not a big sports guy at all.
No.
And you're talking about it again. I feel like you've talked about Deflategate more times in your life than you would ever have imagined.
I didn't even know who Tom Brady was before Deflategate. That tells you something about how little I know.
Which, to be fair, most athletes show up in pop culture in some way. Tom Brady doesn't show up in the kinds of ads that are targeted towards you.
That's true.
He was in an Uggs boot ad, and it was the most perplexing thing. Like, just
so Tom Brady's being marketed towards my mom?
See, that's confusing. It is confusing. I don't know what that is because, like, I don't know. I think Ugg boots wanted to make like a line for men.
No.
But understand that no matter how cool I think Tom Brady is, and I do think he's very cool, and I think he's right there, either if not the best quarterback of all time, like best or second best. It's him or Montana. I'm not buying Ugg boots because Tom Brady wears them. I'm just not doing it.
I wouldn't buy Ugg boots if my favorite person ever came down and said, look, buy these boots now. It's not gonna be like, dude, I'm sorry. God himself, I'm sorry, man. They're Ugg boots. You know everything. You know what would happen to me if I wore Ugg boots.
Right. You'd just be beaten up in the streets and laughed at. You'd be given wedgies like some kind of stereotypical middle school student.
Draw the line here.
In the 80s, because I don't think middle school students even get handout wedgies.
Well, you're not wearing Reebok pumps. It's a swirly for you.
Right to the toilet for you. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. The Tennessee Titans basically caused the most drama in the draft, and they did it in the most glorious way possible because their fans are super excited about everything that happened to them.
They can't walk 3 feet here without seeing a Tennessee Titans bumper sticker or something.
Right. As far as NFL teams go, that's the closest that we've got here in Chattanooga.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we basically more or less prefer our college ball, because we're in that awkward space where we're not close enough to Atlanta or Nashville.
I think it feels living in Ringgold, Georgia.
Right. You're just out of the way.
Right. There's nothing there.
You just stay over there and enjoy whatever it is.
High school football, man. Go Tigers.
Yeah, well, they're good too.
They are really good.
But when it comes to what the Titans have done in the draft, they had the number 1 overall pick, and they traded that pick to the LA Rams and moved back. The Rams had the 5th pick. They had the 1st pick. So they swapped picks, and then also the Titans said, we want even more picks from you. So they have like the Rams number 1 pick from next year. They have picks from later in the draft from them. So they're just going to draft a bunch of players and try and get really good really fast.
Wow.
Which is such a fantastic strategy if you can pull it off. And they did. And the player that they were supposed to get, that a lot of people thought, oh, Laramie Tunsil is going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, might still be there when they pick at 5.
Oh.
So they might end up getting the guy anyway.
So the Tennessee Titans will just be the most OP, like totally crushing everybody potentially.
Basically.
Which everyone here is going to love.
And like, because teams that have gotten that many picks back historically, they're making a Super Bowl run in 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's a really good look for them.
Oh my gosh, how cool would it be though if the Tennessee Titans made it to the Super Bowl?
It would be fantastic.
I would watch that Super Bowl.
I was a child at the last time that they made it to the Super Bowl, and they lost by basically 1 yard.
Oh,
that was the most painful thing that I've ever seen.
Watch that on YouTube. It was bad.
Yeah, it was hard to swallow there. But like this team, the way that they've basically been designed, it's pretty amazing how quickly they've gotten from we're awful to we're pretty decent, and we're skipping pretty decent and just heading to really good.
Is this with the same management and owner and everything?
They have a new GM, new general manager. That's
I know what a GM is. Yeah,
that's
being one. I know.
What's his name? Right there, you go. His name is John Robinson, and he's been basically. People think that he's kind of a genius, but like he's just kind of proving it right now.
So he's Elon Musk of NFL.
Sort of, yeah. Like he's really big on like analytics and looking at like draft value boards and going, if I have the number 1 pick, this is what I expect to get back if I traded it. And all of these things that just delineate from that. And when it comes to the pick that they held, like the quarterbacks in this draft, it's seen as a weak quarterback draft, but teams are so desperate for a quarterback that you basically hold all the cards when you're the number 1 pick. The people are just going to draft a quarterback and go, you know what? We're going to take a gamble on Jared Goff and see how good he is. But we don't know. Like, not everybody's like Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck came out and everyone's like, yep, no, he's going to be fantastic.
We hear Michael Jordan's getting the NFL. Maybe he'll be a pick.
Michael Jeffrey Jordan, his son.
No, it's Michael Jordan. He wants to round it out. He did the MLB. He did
That's true.
Basketball. He did PGA golf. So now he wants to finally get in the NFL, and he'll have all of them. And hockey's next.
Which, I feel like Michael Jordan should just try and make another comeback, because he obviously was drafted in the league in his 20s,
right?
Retired, came back in his 30s, and then came back again to the Wizards in his 40s. He's in his 50s now. I want to see a Michael Jordan 50s.
He's got
comeback.
the new decade. He's got his whole next 30 years probably ahead of him.
Exactly. I mean, he can't really dunk anymore. Like, he just barely gets up there, but he does get up there.
And they do wheelchair Olympics too. So when he gets wheelchair basketball, so he gets really up there, he can still play.
Absolutely.
He's got it set, man.
So that's how that's going to go down. I hope that the Redskins take him in the first round. Just draft Michael Jordan.
Would that make them better or worse?
The Redskins right now, like, stagnant. Like, they're about as good as they're going to get. Make it to the first round of the playoffs, get beaten, go home, and
sorry, dude.
We're happy with just making the playoffs. We're cool with all of that.
Well, because you're my conduit to the world of sports, I'll ask you a question, since we'll never know otherwise. What are my Falcons doing?
The Falcons are an interesting team because
I like to hear that. Okay.
They have first off, nobody knows last season if they were good or bad.
I don't know.
Because they started the season undefeated. They won like 7 games in a row.
I knew that. I saw that when I was having. I was like, oh yeah, this is a good time to like the Falcons.
And then they lost like 6 games in a row.
And then I stopped liking the Falcons.
And then they beat the Panthers, who then went on to go to the Super Bowl. So you're just like, who are you people? They're a team with a lot of holes to fill, but at the positions that are truly important in football, they're really good.
Okay, so can I bet on the Falcons this season?
This season, it's hard to say. They're in the NFC South, so that's a division of football that you can foreseeably win. The Panthers are going to be really good again, probably. Right. So you're not going to beat them. But also in that division is the Saints, and
the Saints.
They have just been awful.
Yeah.
So you're there, and then it slips my mind at the moment who else is in that division. But that goes to prove your point. That it's the NFC South is not a particularly great division of football outside of the Panthers. So if you make a decent run in that, you beat the other teams twice and maybe split with the Panthers, you've got a good shot of making the playoffs. And then we've just seen it happen in the NFL over and over again. If you make it to the playoffs and you've got a good to great quarterback, you can make a run, and you've got Matt Ryan, who's really good. So at this point, you could bet on the Falcons.
Probably Titans might be a better bet.
I would say the Falcons are further ahead than the Titans are, just because the Titans are coming from much further behind. Like the Titans are coming from just bloody awful. That's where they were. The Falcons have just kind of been middling for a while and underachieving, and not particularly drafting players that are excelling in those sort of role player positions. Like offensive line, they need offensive line, like bad.
I'm sorry, you said role player. I'm just picturing them like rolling 25 dice. I tackle him.
Right. I resist your tackle.
I throw the ball. I rolled 8 AC. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, you missed.
Right.
Critical failure.
Which is kind of what that looked like during that losing streak.
And now we've lost 100% of our audience.
Right. Yeah, right. Because
we made a D&D joke. You can't do
that. You can't jump back in here. We just went from fairly accessible to not at all accessible. The people that understand D&D jokes and also are interested in the NFL is a Venn diagram that when it touches includes basically just me.
Basically, we have a second Big Bang when that happens.
Yes. And only I get to survive and be alone in the universe.
You're the sole survivor of your own universe.
Oh, boy. That doesn't sound fun at all. But yeah, the Falcons are, I think, some pieces away from being playoff contenders again.
Yeah.
But they really need to work on that offensive line situation. It's not great. And also they can't defend against the pass, which is just highly important.
Well, obviously. I'll support them either way because I'm not a meme person. I'll like the Atlanta Falcons no matter what. I like the Atlanta Braves no matter what. And it's going to hurt a lot to do those two things, but I live in Georgia and I love Georgia, so it's how it's got to be.
Yeah, and I've got we can talk some college football on the other side because I've got a Georgia Bulldogs opinion.
Oh no,
that I would like to run past.
Okay, this is gonna be good.
so when we've got more time on the other side for that one, but I like where the Falcons have been headed. I think they've regressed in the last couple of years because they were, when they drafted Matt Ryan, they were a playoff team his rookie season and like the 2 other seasons after that. So it's like 3 years of playoffs, and you're like, okay, they're ascending, and then they've just kind of middled, right. and they haven't improved, but they also haven't gotten worse. They drafted Julio Jones as their wide receiver, and Julio can really catch, and also he is horrifyingly fast. So there's just certain things that they do really well. Like when it comes to scoring on deep passes, I don't know that there's anybody really doing that better than them right now. It's just all the other things that you have to do, like running the football regularly and stopping the other team from connecting on deep passes. These things are also important, and Atlanta doesn't do it particularly well.
Like they can catch in their fat. They're like that one kid you had in your middle school, like impromptu football team.
Yes.
Like that guy can do those 2 things. Use him for that, and that's all.
And that's all you can use.
That's all they got.
Yep.
That sucks.
So and they're selecting in the draft high enough. I think you can try and find an impact player. But they haven't been drafting well over the last few years. And so it's just like most of their draft picks are out of the league in like 3 years. This is a problem.
Yeah.
of massive proportions.
Throwing darts at a board of names or something.
Yeah. And, their general manager, Thomas Dimitroff, at first he was seen as like this crazy, sort of genius analytics guy, and then he started missing on a bunch of picks. And it doesn't help that he just looks like this kind of weird hipster as well. Like he's got like his hair stands up at a point, and then he's got the see-through frame glasses, and it looks bad. And then it's just like, can we trust him to actually build a football team through the draft, which is where you have to, because that's where your cheap long-term players are coming from overall.
Maybe he'll surprise us. Who knows?
I hope so. I'm interested in what the Falcons are going to do over the course of this draft. But we're going to get to some Georgia talk, Bulldogs on the other side, and a little bit more here on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Clutch with Keon Rose.
Blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. Finding just the right place to live can be a daunting task. Stop your search. In Chattanooga, the place to live is Cross Creek Villas for under $1,000 and available for immediate move-in. You can enjoy this 2-bedroom split layout, over 1,000 square feet, 9-foot ceilings, an extra large patio or balcony. And don't forget to ask about their preferred employer program. Cross Creek Villas is a gated community offering a 24-hour fitness facility, a beautiful pool and hot tub, and Cross Creek Villas is pet friendly. Stroll the pet park with your best friend and enjoy the free use of their business center and clubhouse. Plus, if you mention you heard this on the radio, your application fee is free. Cross Creek Villas, close to downtown off of Highway 58. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com. That's crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. That's 894-0446. Redefine the way you live at Cross Creek Villas. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. Cross Creek Villas. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds has got on his sunglasses. He's buying so many glittering diamonds today, he's almost going blind looking at the haul. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds, come on in today. He'll give you top dollar on a sparkling field of diamonds, an ocean of value that he wants to convert into cash for you. Come on in today, sell your diamonds. You'll get the biggest wad of dollars anywhere for your gleaming diamond. Rick Diamonds Golden Diamonds. Rick wants to meet you in person today. Diamonds, Rick loves them. He'll take your diamonds in gold and you'll walk out with ready-made money in your pocket. Hundreds, 50s, 20s, and $10 bills. Cash, cash, cash at Rick Davis Golden Diamonds. Rick Davis, Brainerd Road near Eastgate Town Center. Cash, 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 and more cash.
Expect clear skies to continue through the nighttime hours. Overnight lows comfortable into the upper 50s with a little late fog. For Friday, lots of sunshine, almost like summertime highs soaring into the upper 80s with more clouds tomorrow night, giving way to a few scattered showers later Saturday. Check out all the beautiful color at Glass Farm Nursery, open daily, closed Sunday, with all of the finest in bedding plants, shrubs, and trees. That's Glass Farm Nursery, Highway 11, 4 miles south of Trenton. And I'm 1412 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Core.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. Following the fiasco with TN Ready, the State Education Department has terminated its contract with Measurement Incorporated due to, quote, inability to deliver all testing materials. The commissioner, Candace McQueen, announced on Wednesday that the department will terminate its statewide testing contract with Measurement Incorporated effective immediately. 36-year-old Joseph Perkins Jr. was arrested at Erlanger Hospital and taken to the jail. He's been booked on outstanding warrants for aggravated burglary, vandalism, and domestic assault following following an incident on Westminster Circle that you may have heard about on Tuesday. He is charged on a separate count of domestic assault and vandalism over $500 from another incident that also occurred on Tuesday. The fight with Walker County and Erlanger is continuing. Stuart James, special counsel to Walker County in its litigation against Erlanger, said that the county will not be intimidated. Erlanger officials fired back, saying they are committed to collecting the $36 million, which they are owed. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
Hot News Talk 1240.
So we're talking about the NFL draft a little bit, and we're going to get into some Georgia Bulldog talk in a second, because I want to offend Russell with my theory.
They're the best team on the planet.
They're going to be really good. I wonder if I think the new coaching change might do them some good.
Yeah.
I have a few questions about the way they've gone about that.
Okay.
But
anyway, do your thing.
I think they're going to be fine. But I want to touch on a topic about Robert Kimdichie, who I think most people in the draft, he plays for Ole Miss, Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
Played for them. He's going to be entering the NFL draft. I think most people had him. He's going to be taken probably in the first round. It's where he's projected to be picked. But a lot of people had him as like a top 5 pick, but you just can't trust anything about him off the field.
Was he conned people before?
He hasn't conned people, but I'm
not really a football player.
He does these. He's made bad decisions, I think, off the field in terms of he got a police officer came to investigate whether or not he had drugs in a dorm room.
Of course, he's an NFL. Of course, he has drugs.
A 4th-story dorm room,
Sorry,
which
NFL.
he fell out the window for some reason, and it's very unclear as to why he fell out the window. The police officer ended up not finding any drugs, so the officer was like, this whole thing is suspicious. I think you should just try and stay out of trouble.
So he ate all the drugs and jumped out the window.
That's what it seems like.
This is going to seem like a horrible question, but we're talking about college, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that.
No, it's fine.
I forgot that Ole Miss was a college team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. When I first came here to the South, a few things, I was like, why are they Ole Miss? Isn't that not just the University of Mississippi? It is. We call it Ole Miss.
Yeah, it is.
Why? I don't know. I have no idea. You have to ask those people in Mississippi. Also, there's the let's go hotty toddy thing.
Still makes no sense.
I'm
whatsoever.
not gonna lie. I don't follow that one.
A hot toddy is like an alcoholic drink. Maybe they were on a lot of them and misspelled. Let's go hotty toddy.
Possibly. I'm not gonna try and offend any Ole Miss listeners that are happening here any further than I already have.
Oh, I will. I don't care.
Yeah, no, you don't care at all. You have no skin in the game here.
I'll get beaten up in the parking lot. No lie.
You can tweet at me at SportsCloud. I know I just basically invite people to tweet angry things at me, which is basically what happens. Just oh look, hey Keon, you're an idiot, and here's why in all that I can cram into 140 characters. It hasn't managed to hurt my feelings yet, but also I've invited it in, so I'm prepared emotionally. Just one of these days someone's going to say something that just devastates me.
Well, here's one. I, Russell Stroud, at Radio Russell on Twitter, think Nick Saban is the worst coach of all time. And I think that Alabama is the worst state of all time. And I also believe that the University of Alabama is the worst university of all time. And I think the tide should not roll anymore.
That is inflammatory. And also, you're not going to like where I go next with my Georgia opinion then. But Robert Kimdichie is a guy that gets into trouble fairly often, and a lot of the trouble that he's been in is connected to his brother. So a lot of teams are asking him, distance yourself from your brother, please, so that you can, because when you're by yourself, it doesn't seem like you make these terrible decisions.
Right.
It's pretty much only when you're with him. But Robert Kimdichie on his own has said some bizarre things, like how he would like to own a panther, and if you gave him money, the kind of money that an NFL player makes, he would buy a panther.
Oh.
When GMs told him that's crazy, he was like, what? It's not crazy. It's just a giant cat. If people are really afraid of it, I'll just lock it up and put it away. But I don't want the headline, Panther mauls NFL star's, sister or something.
I was going to say, the only reason your cat doesn't kill you is because it's not big enough to.
Right.
So you go and buy one that is, and you're asking for trouble.
Right. a panther is more than big enough. And I understand that Robert Kimdichi is like a huge guy. He's enormous and also himself very powerful. But it's like, okay, but your family members, your sisters, your brothers, your cousins.
Maybe he has like a Tarzan fantasy of saving one of his family members from this wild panther.
Possibly. That is the only reasonable explanation left as to why you would willingly want a creature of predatory accent in your house.
Well, doesn't Mike Tyson have several tigers or something?
He did, and one actually did bite a person.
Okay,
that is a reason why. Also, Gilbert Arenas used to have sharks. When he played for the Wizards.
Did they have lasers on them too?
They didn't have lasers, but they weren't in a tank. They were in a grotto in his backyard. Like, you could just fall into his actual shark grotto.
I would love the story of like him explaining to the like exterior designer why he wants this nice little pool in his backyard. So what are you going to put in? A goldfish, koi? Oh no, a shark.
No, sharks.
I'm putting a shark in my backyard.
I'm putting 4 sharks in this grotto.
Oh, 4 of them?
No, he put 4 sharks.
Not just one, but 4.
So just in case that one shark wasn't interested, there's still a 75% chance that you are just getting torn to pieces.
And it had to be saltwater too, so it's even harder to build.
Why would you do that, Gilbert Arenas? So that whole thing is a thing. But I'm interested in seeing like where he actually winds up being taken in the draft because of just the nature of the NFL is like, look, we say we want great decision makers. We say we want smart people. But in the end, if you're not a quarterback, they will take you. If they think they need you, they will take you. That is just it's a meritocracy over there. Like they will just draft you regardless of whether or not you have said that you want a very large jungle cat in your house.
I mean, that's true. When you're the quarterback, you're the face of that team.
Right.
When you're anyone else, nobody cares except for someone who's really into football.
Like if you're particularly awful, because like there are guys that have been in a lot of trouble, but we give Johnny Manziel probably more grief about it than anybody else because he played quarterback.
Yeah.
There's like an inherent intelligence that you expect from that position specifically.
Well, the guys are like walking smartphones. They have to calculate all these different things in their heads. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And like NFL playbooks are not small. They're hundreds of pages and you have to memorize it. So when your coach says some random string of words that has no meaning to anyone, you know, like one of my favorite plays is Spider 2Y Banana. And it's only because I just barely was able to wrap my mind around the concept of what it is that all of those phrases are saying in that play.
It's like trying to learn C++ in a different language.
Yes.
That's a computer programming language.
And
sports people.
Each team has their own phraseology for that play. So if you get traded from the Falcons to the Titans call that same play a different thing than the Falcons did. So you have to memorize the playbook again.
Oh man.
You never stop.
That's like if we go to a different radio station, which will never happen. And they're like, oh, these aren't microphones. Actually, these are mouth tubes.
It's just like you have to call it a mouth tube or you're not going to be on the air.
Can you get closer to the mouth tube, please?
That already makes me mad.
I know.
This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. We're moving on.
We're talking to microphones, not mouth tubes.
We're talking to microphones here. So the Georgia Bulldogs have ended the Mark Richt era. They've moved on to Kirby Smart. I think he's actually going to be a very good coach for them. Very intelligent, defensive guy. It just feels like to me that Georgia has...
You know, when a woman says that, you know you're in trouble. It just feels like to me that...
I think that's an experience that maybe we've all had.
Yes.
And you just start to panic because like you're just like, this sentence is going to end.
You get the cold sweat and you start to you pretend that you're totally calm, still reading your comic books.
Right.
Yes, dear?
Mm-hmm. The sentence is going to end soon, and she's going to expect me to say a thing. I don't have any things to say.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
This is going to be fantastic.
What woman I looked at? What are you talking about? I don't remember last week.
Like you just jumped the gun and admit something that she didn't ask you yet. What? Oh, we weren't talking about. No.
Oh, you weren't there for that.
Okay, but I'm going to go with the woman phraseology of this anyway.
Hit me.
It seems like to me, like Georgia has something of a little brother complex with Alabama.
No. No.
You say that.
No.
But you hired Kirby Smart. You hired one of their coaches. You you strive to break their spring practice record of most people in attendance.
Just because we're both red doesn't mean we're all the same here.
This is true. I'm not arguing that you are the same. I am arguing that at least in Georgia, some of the boosters of that school see all of the winning that Alabama is doing, and they would like that. And they, instead of going, let's just try and get to that goal, let's get to that goal by being the team that's getting there the most often.
Well, Keon, okay, I can explain why this is.
Okay.
Hitler did a lot of winning during World War II.
Oh, boy. This is great.
And I don't know where I'm going with that analogy, but we are the allies here at Georgia.
The reason why you didn't start off doing so much winning is obviously
well, see, we've not even got Pearl Harbor hasn't even happened yet. We've not gotten into the war yet. We don't even care about Alabama.
Well,
we just don't like them.
We just don't like them.
That's all it is.
Well, I will say this about Georgia. Georgia has produced more quarterbacks.
Thank you.
At the NFL level than Alabama.
DJ Shockley, very good. You don't remember DJ Shockley?
I do vaguely.
He was pretty good.
He was pretty good. Matt Stafford.
Okay, yeah.
Also very good and still playing in the league in the NFL. He's pretty good and he was amazing at Georgia. That's possibly like the very first time I actually like really tuned in to watch SEC football. Like Matt Stafford was on fire and I was just like, oh my gosh, who is this guy?
Exactly. See, Georgia's amazing.
He's pretty amazing. And they've got Jacob Eason who's coming in as a freshman. I think they should play him, but it's risky playing a freshman. But I like the idea of playing a freshman and then let him get beat up as a freshman.
Yeah.
And then when he's a sophomore and a junior, like he's already got that experience under his belt. But Kirby Smart's not coming out and saying either way whether or not he's going to play Jacob Eason. But like the way that people talk about Jacob Eason playing quarterback is like there's a level of anticipation there that I don't think we've seen at any SEC school at that position. SEC is just not known as being the quarterback-driven conference of all the schools.
No, yeah, and this whole rivalry, too, between Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee and Alabama and Florida and Alabama and everybody else in Alabama has really gotten that mature mentality going towards football now where we're thinking of it more seriously. Like, it's not, it's just college football. It's like as big as NFL down here.
It is.
People care about the Vols more than they care about the Titans sometimes down here.
I think that's an actual fact.
It is.
Yeah, it's not. The Vols have a chance this year to win the SEC East.
Yes.
They would have to get past Georgia to do so.
As I don't like admitting that, they are very good.
They're very good right now. Butch Jones has put together and recruited a very, very good football team over there in Knoxville. And that hope right there trumps the Titans and the Falcons just immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Just instantly. Like, nobody cares.
And I care way more about UGA than I do about the Atlanta Falcons. That's just how it is.
And it actually makes sense in a way that doesn't in other places. I lived in Texas for a very long time, and people love the Longhorns over there.
Oh, yeah.
Texas Longhorns are the team. It's the most important thing that's on anybody's mind, except if you live in Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys do trump everything.
Well, that's true, yeah.
So, like, in other places, that's the case, but like in the South, like college football wins.
So does just no one care about Texas A&M?
People care about Texas A&M, and those people are usually they tend to be the ones that you disagree with the most.
They're
because
football hipsters.
They're football hipsters. Yeah, like it's just the Longhorns have the bigger brand, and they have the bigger brand by such a very large margin that people tend to follow the Longhorns even like closer to College Station, Texas, where A&M is located. Like people still really like the Longhorns a lot.
Well, plus like the Longhorns are like the face of Texas. Like George W. Bush and Rick Perry probably like the Longhorns. I don't think of Texas A&M.
They do. Rick Perry very often sports the Texas Longhorns belt buckle.
There you go. Oh yeah, he does, doesn't he? I remember a picture of that.
Yeah, he's a diehard Longhorn fan. But like the thing with that too is now that they don't play each other anymore because Texas A&M moved to the SEC through a series of complicated negotiations that I really will not.
Texas moved to the SEC?
Texas A&M.
Okay, that's still...
Texas is, like, each of the group, there's, like, groupings of schools that is semi-geographic, but not necessarily, and you basically are agreeing to share revenue and all of those things and schedule one another consistently. So all the teams in the SEC, the reason why those rivalries develop is that you all agree to be in this conference. So you play each other every year.
Texas, I love you, but you're not in the Southeast. I would even say Louisiana's really not like in the Southeast.
No, but I suppose neither is Missouri, and they've joined.
That's true.
They've joined, and so
is Arkansas in the SEC too?
Yes, they are.
No.
So that's why I say semi-geographically.
They're crossing a line there.
Because in the Big 12 conference, in which Texas is, and Texas Tech, and all the schools that mostly are in Texas, but also Oklahoma is a part of too. West Virginia joined the Big 12 recently, and it's just confusing to me because it's just like geographically, here's the cluster of schools. You're located around Texas, Oklahoma area, and then just West Virginia is just randomly out.
Next, you're going to tell me British Columbia is in the SEC.
Maybe one day they will join.
Why not?
And because money. Money is what drives all of this. Like, if you think logic and reason are what's pushing any of this, it's mostly money.
Yeah, that's true.
So
it's always money anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, it is entirely, especially when it comes to sports, especially when it comes to college football. The reason why everybody's making such a big stink about not paying college athletes is mostly because you don't want to share the money with anybody else.
Yeah.
And the college football players, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and there's a lot of money going into that. All the merchandise. You can't walk into a gas station in Alabama without seeing Roll Tide stuff all over the place. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and all the people that make that money goes all the way down to the coaches, from the school itself, the athletic director, the coach, all of that money. It basically just stops at the coach. Like, and it's so unfair because Nick Saban has a very giant contract. He makes nearly $5 million a year.
Nick Saban's like a saint down there too,
and he doesn't pay for his house. They pay for his house.
So he's like the governor. He's got his own mansion now.
Basically,
that's kind of cool. Actually,
I heard a rumor, and it is a rumor. This is completely unsubstantiated in every way. But I heard a rumor that the reason why Nick Saban won't be able to leave Alabama and coach at any other school is that his wife is basically treated like the queen.
No.
And she likes that. And she doesn't want to go somewhere where people don't treat her like that.
That's kind of a noble motive on Nick Saban's part, though. If he says, my wife is happy, I'll stay.
It is quite noble.
That's nice enough.
But it's also like...
Even though I don't like Nick Saban at all, that is nice enough.
It is nice enough. Nick Saban's weird to me, too. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose, and what has become a college football tangent.
I have no knowledge whatsoever about Nick Saban's personality, by the way. I just don't like him because he's in Alabama.
But here's the thing about Nick Saban, though. Like, his personality is he's a grouch.
You've told me that before. Yeah, he like says odd things in interviews.
Odd things, and he says them angrily, like with just so much rage that it doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, it all seems planned, too. Like, it's calculated. He's not just flying off the handle. It's like, oh, I feel like the media is getting too comfortable talking to me.
Yeah.
Today, I will throw a tantrum in my press conference to remind everybody that I'm scary. And it works. It works every single time.
That's okay.
With maximum effectiveness.
Who's the guy who told the reporters to smile? Was that Stephen A. Smith?
That was not Stephen A. Smith.
That's the other guy.
That was, I forget his name. He used to coach at Arkansas.
Okay.
John A. Smith.
John A. is the other A. Smith.
And he was just...
It's great.
He's flipping out. I think we actually have.
I can find it. Hold on. Keep talking, Keon.
Yeah,
I'll find it.
Where he was just basically telling reporters to smile, or he wasn't going to answer any questions. Like, he was just holding everybody hostage. Stephen A. Smith is a reporter for ESPN, and he's
the guy who did the "I'll not have it."
I'm not having it. Nope.
That's Stephen A. Smith, Cam Newton, Peyton Manning, Von Miller.
Our audio system here. I need to learn it, and B, we've got to figure out where to put things.
Well, B, you're the one who cluttered it all up, by the way.
That's true. Like, I'm not going to use that Cam Newton audio. I will probably never use it ever again.
Who's Cam Newton anyway?
He's the quarterback of the Panthers.
I knew that.
And also another SEC quarterback. But like, Alabama doesn't produce those. That is one thing about Alabama that you can definitely say. The last Alabama quarterback that won and had a winning record in the NFL was Joe Namath.
Joe Namath. That's a name. Seems like it reckons or beckons back from like the 70s or 80s.
Very, very long time ago.
Yeah.
Joe Namath won, I believe, with the Jets Super Bowl III.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's very long time ago.
So there could have been like an NES game about this guy.
Yes. It was so long ago. If you've heard the name, because like that Joe Namath was was an icon of his day. So his name still kind of lingers around. Here it is.
I've actually got it.
And it's John L. Smith.
John L. Smith.
I just wanted to put an A in his name for fun.
Whoever the heck he is. Oh, it opens in Audacity too. That's great. Let me make some adjustments. Amplify.
Oh, good.
Okay.
You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile. Smile. Okay? Dang, you guys, all right? If not, I'm not talking. Let's get rolling. Okay. Rutgers coming to town this week.
And then he starts the interview.
He's so angry, though.
He's bizarrely angry. The way he started that interview was like nothing happened.
No.
Like he didn't just threaten a group of reporters to smile, or he was just not going to allow them to do their jobs.
No, see, I can actually relate to that when I watch it, because he's angry about something, and it's probably not anything at all related to whatever the heck is going on in that room. He's just really angry, and he wants to be mean to somebody. And then he like sort of tries to laugh it off towards the end. Because in the video, you see him do that like weird, like awkward smile thing.
Yeah.
And he looks like a serial killer.
It's bizarre. That whole video is bizarre, but it's fantastic.
John L. Smith is in your closet telling you like, smile.
And with Nick Saban will do things like that. I actually had some audio of Nick Saban that I could never put on the air because I tried to figure out how to like bleep him.
Oh no.
And because here's the thing, like he was talking about basically playing how the SEC they in November they have on their schedule like just really bad schools, like nobody's schools. And I think that year they were playing Georgia Cumberland. So like just the school that they should obviously dominate.
I forgot Georgia Cumberland was a thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
For very good reason. Sorry, Georgia.
Yeah.
Cumberland.
Yeah. Not UGA or even Kennesaw State. Just Georgia Tech.
Or Georgia Tech even.
Yeah.
Just Georgia Cumberland.
Like I thought Kennesaw State before I thought Georgia Tech.
And he was telling the reporters like, no, remember a few years ago we played one of these schools and you wrote them off and they beat us. And so that was his way of saying anybody could beat anybody. But he was like, that they ran through our defense like crap through a tin horn.
Oh, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
He didn't say crap.
Yeah.
And I went to go find the audio thinking, okay, this is old enough. Someone has surely censored this by now. And it's on the Alabama YouTube page, uncensored.
Oh, no.
It is entirely uncensored. And so I was like, oh, my goodness. I guess I can't play this on the air.
Wow. He's just so angry, though.
Yes. The highly volatile, but like in a way that's on purpose and designed to scare people, just to remind everybody Nick Saban is the boogeyman.
And that's the other, see here again is another thing that makes Georgia the best team ever, because Mark Richt would never blow up at anyone like that. He's the nicest person. You could have him over for coffee anytime. Nick Saban, I don't think so.
I feel like you could ask Mark Richt a rude question and he would just be very polite to you.
He'd just go, yeah, well.
Just stymie you with kindness. And you're like, curse you, Mark Richt.
Mark Richt.
I'll get a rise out of you one day. But with Nick Saban has these blowups that are just planned. And I don't know what's going to happen with Kirby Smart, but I really hope that he does not do that. Like,
well, if he does, I'll love it.
Well, yeah. I mean, Nick Saban is the ultimate. He's your coach. That's your guy. Like everybody has that player on their team that's just like, I hate that guy, but he's on your team. Like LeBron was that for the longest time. Like people just hated LeBron, but like if you had LeBron would be the greatest player ever.
He's that cocky guy. You have to like him,
but
you don't at the same time,
right? Unless he's on your team, in which case, cockiness. It's our cockiness. Doesn't matter. Thanks for joining us today on Clutch with Keon Rose. I'd like to thank Russell very much for joining me on the show today and letting me poke fun at the Bulldogs a little bit.
Never again, Keon.
Never again, though, because they'll strangle me. Thank you for joining me. And remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch. I'll see you in 24 hours. And Free Talk Live is up next.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.